Hello, and welcome to Imperfect in an Uncertain World, resources for living with authenticity and purpose. You change the world by being yourself. I know you've probably heard that before, but what does that mean? Let's talk. Now, I believe that Gandhi really had it right. Be the change you wish to see in the world. But how do you do that? Um, for me, another Gandhi quote sums up the path of transformation nicely. My life is my message. When each of us truly shares our message, lives with soul purpose, then we are a catalyst for powerful change. And that's the change internal that externally has the potential to change the world. Now, sometimes I want this change to happen overnight. And maybe you're just as impatient as I am. And although radical, quick change is possible, that's not what usually happens. Change begins with a seed of awareness that is nurtured with each resolute drop of determination. Transformation is built upon the little things, the seeds of hope, and the acts of determination. Now, we're in the spring of the year, and this time of year really mimics the nurturing seeds of change. We are at the beginning of the growing season. Now where people, if they start their own plants, they've begun to do that inside. They've begun to plot out their garden, kind of decided what they're going to do. Now is the time in our lives to plant seeds and then care for the fragility of life. The stance towards the first sprouts of change must be the same as growing, if you're a gardener, growing those fragile plants. Now, like those first fragile plants of spring, we don't look at change poking through the soil and say, "Whew, that was hard work, but I did it." There are these little plants that maybe are this high. But that was tough, and yay, let's celebrate. My job is done. No, we know that the initial evidence of our movement into change is only the beginning. We recognize that in order for change to, what I'm going to call take, it needs a firm foundation. We lay the foundation with our determination and our joy. Now, if you've heard me say it once, you've heard me say it probably at least 3 times over this blog. We need to be determined about what we're doing. It's to set a course and then move forward. But we also need to have joy. We need to celebrate those fragile sprouts of change. And in this rejoicing, the roots of change grow deeper and deeper into the soil of our being. Now, not everything that we sow brings about transformation of our true self. And I think that you can agree with me on that some things we sow we just don't want in our lives. I found that sometimes I sow seeds of change that don't quite sync with who I am. And so when I talked about my true and authentic self, it's an illusion. That's not who I am, but I've managed to sow these seeds anyway. So if change begins, it's the recognition that some change doesn't reflect my soul purpose, or it doesn't reflect your soul purpose. So change really begins with the seeds of awareness. Course corrections happen when we recognize what is growing change and what are the weeds of stagnation that are sprouting in our garden. And then we have the power of choice. Are we going to let those weeds grow, or are we going to pluck them out and giving room for transformation to occur into our true self? So you might say, well, Vanessa, Van, how do you cultivate this awareness? And I believe that there are 3 aspects of it: reflection, introspection, and integration. This is something that I call RI squared. This three-step process helps us deepen our understanding of really what is our message and how is our life reflecting that message, and really how our message is an agent for change in ourselves and in the world. So we begin by reflecting upon what is happening. We introspect what we gleaned from our thoughts, words, and deeds, and then we come up with a plan to pull the weeds from our garden and grow our change. That final step is integration. So RI squared is all about saying to those weeds, you're not me. This isn't the way I want to live. I'm willing to uproot what isn't me so that I can be fully who I am. So I can grow, transform into who I am. So how do we do this? Let's dig into RI squared. So reflection is really a heart-based activity that empowers you to do a personal assessment. It's an opportunity just to notice what you're feeling, what you're thinking without judgment. I call it fact-finding gleaned from your thoughts and emotions. Again, it's noticing without judgment or drawing conclusions. It's really being an objective observer, a fact finder. So you take all of this information that you gleaned, that you discovered from reflection, and you move into introspection. And this activity connects you with what you've gathered in your heart, and it connects your heart to your head. Now, during this time, again, I'm going to use that word objectively, assess the information that you've gathered. You might identify patterns in the information, or you might really be able to see the forest instead of the trees, to see what's really going on, how you were hurt by it, how you were upset by it, how it made you angry, those kinds of things. And then what you're going to do is name how what is happening is in line with your soul purpose, and really identify the things that really don't sync with your goal purpose or with your soul purpose. During this time, you ask yourself, what can I do differently? And here's where you make the plan to get back on track of your transformation. Here's where you get back on track so your life really is about your message. So the final step, we talked about reflection, we talked about introspection. Now we're going to talk about integration. This is the doing phase. You really take what you learn and you integrate it into your life. It's what gets you back on track. Now, I will tell you as a disclaimer that sometimes you're going to almost get there the first time you go through RI squared or the 20th time you go through RI squared. But with RI squared, you're willing to go back and reflect and introspect and discover new ways to integrate in your life so that you really can transform, so that you really can be the change. So RI squared really is an ongoing practice. You can learn more about it and actually have some practice sessions in my book, Engaging Compassion Through Intent and Action. It's available. You can go to wildefyrepress.com. That's WILDEFYRPRESS.com for a link to order the book. It is available as an ebook and as a print copy. But with RI squared, you may find that you need to tweak what you discovered and integrate things that are more in sync with you. Maybe you're going to plant a whole new garden or remove a stem that you thought would change, or maybe you're just going to have to plant a new seed or two. Because really what RI squared does is give you the information, the knowledge, and the wisdom to choose what change you want to grow into the soil of your soul and share it with the world. So I want to throw out a question to you. How will your message give birth to the change you wish to see in the world? So I want to thank you for watching my video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. Again, additional resources, including the books that I've written, are available at vanessafhurst.com. If you need a little bit of help moving into the RI squared process, as a contemplative coach, I would love to work with you one session or more. But no matter what you do, I want you to discover how your life and your message is calling you to be the change you wish to see in the world. Thank you and have a great day. Namaste.